Hello everyone, welcome to CSBIAS Academy. This is Rahul. Today we are going to discuss about Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Broadly, these are the things that we will be discussing about. Why AIIB is in news, why there is a need for new institutions like AIIB. We'll be learning a bit about the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank, the basics, what are the funding and voting patterns, who does it lend to, and what are the interests of different countries in establishing AIIB and other related information. Why it is in news? It is in news because recently AIIB has approved a loan of $750 million to India. The funding it is mainly aimed to deal with the economic downturn that India is facing because of COVID-19. Earlier in April, India has requested or sought a loan of $6 billion from AIB and ADB, mainly to combat the COVID-19. So we already have many institutions like World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Asian Development Bank, and all. When we already have these institutions, why is there a need for institutions like AIB or the New Development Bank? Okay, these are the reasons. First is Western dominance in existing institutions. If you are aware, the most of the institutions like the World Bank or International Monetary Fund, which we also call them as Bretton Woods institutions, they were started immediately or in the context of World War II. Okay, then what was happening is that USA, Russia, and the European countries, they were very powerful then economically as well as militarily. They were having a lot of political weight in the world. They have taken control of these institutions, okay, and right now they are not willing to give up. Apart from it, the existing institutions they don't reflect the changing world order. For example, if you see the GDP, USA contributes to 24%, China contributes to 15.4%, India contributes to 3.27%. The existing countries like Germany, Italy, United Kingdom, France, and all, they have become very small compared to the other countries. These emerging countries, they don't have proper representation. For example, Africa is the most underrepresented country in the world, in underrepresented continent in the institutions. Apart from it, Asia also there are many developing countries as well as emerging market economies which don't have proper representation in the existing financial institutions. And there is also a need for infrastructure and development fund. The World Bank or the Asian Development Bank, they are not able to meet to the ever increasing need for development funding as well as infrastructure funding, and there is a gap which is being sought to be filled by the Asian Investment and Infrastructure Bank. Now let us see in brief about the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank. These are facts and there are very high chances that questions on these facts are asked. The Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank, it was started in January 2016. The idea itself have come in 2013 and at the end of 2015 the agreement was signed and its operations have started in 2016. It is headquartered in Beijing. There is another institution, New Development Bank, which is headquartered at Shanghai. Currently there are members, the membership is 102. What are the broad goals? These are the broad goals with respect to Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank. First is economic development Asia. It is Asia centered, creation of wealth, providing for infrastructure. As you can see, the bank itself is named as Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. So it's one of the major goal is also providing infrastructure. Apart from it, it also promotes regional cooperation and partnership. Who are the members of the institution? Anybody who is a member of World Bank or the Asian Development Bank, they can become a member of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Okay. Apart from it, there is another classification also, wherein which the members are classified as regional and non-regional members. Regional members are those who are located in Asia and Oceania as classified by the United Nations. Okay. Apart from it, non-sovereign entities, they can also become members of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. For example, sovereign wealth fund and public sector enterprises. So, in general, in prelims, the question will be asked like, which among the following is a member of Asian Infrastructure and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank? If they give you some sovereign wealth fund or public sector enterprise, even then it is correct. Okay. Now, what are the funding and voting patterns? As you can see, the initial capital fund of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is $100 billion, which is very high. The other fact is that World Bank has an initial funding of $280 billion. Asian Development Bank has only $50 billion. So it is bigger than Asian Development Bank and it is a little bit smaller than the World Bank. Okay. Even within the funding, as it is majorly a China-led bank, China is the largest contributor, which contributes to 50 billion or 50% of the initial capital, and India is the second largest shareholder, which is contributing to $8.4 billion. Okay. Now coming to voting rights, China again it is the largest shareholder in voting rights with 26.61%, followed by India, which is 7.6%, followed by Russia, which has 6.01, and Germany, which has 4.2%. So here the decreasing order is China, followed by India, followed by Russia, followed by Germany. Okay. Now, who does it lend to? Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, it mainly lends to the member countries. Apart from member countries, it also lends to international and other regional agencies concerned. They are concerned mainly the institutions which are concerned in the economic development of Asia Pacific region. Apart from it, it also has some joint ventures with World Bank, Asian Development Bank, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and European Investment Bank. As you can see here, two-thirds of the current funding it is jointly being or co-financed with Asian Development Bank and World Bank. Okay. Apart from it, bulk of its operations they happen in the South Asia, mainly because the Silk and Road initiative, the One Belt One Road initiative, which is of China. This maritime Silk Road it runs through South Asia, and majority of the funding is happening here. Apart from it, it can also lend to outside Asia, providing connectivity with Asia and is for global public good, and that is significantly benefiting Asia. And coming to the key sectors that for which the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank lends is energy, transport, water, and urban development. These are important. If they ask you what are the key sectors for which Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank lends, it is energy, transport, water, and urban development. Okay. Now, since we have seen the details of the institution, let us see what are different countries interested in Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Okay, why Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank? First is China. As you already discussed, China is the major economy in the emerging world in the current world order. Since it doesn't have that space in the existing institutions, it is propping up institutions like New Development Bank and AIIB. Apart from it, it is also having this One Belt One Road initiative, wherein which it is trying to establish connectivity and strengthen its trade across Asia and the European countries. It has started the One Belt One Road initiative. In order to lend for infrastructure, it is lending through the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Apart from it, it wants to augment trade and investment relations, because once it establishes these trade and investment relations and some kind of lending is there, they won't go to other countries like Japan and United States. Now, what is the interest of India with respect to AIIB? As you know, China and India they have been at loggerheads. Like they are competitors in terms of economy in the world. They compete for markets. They compete for trade. Okay. But why did India agree to join an institution which is primarily being led by China? First is, as you can see, its membership is open to any World Bank or Asian Development Bank members, and the other countries like Japan, Vietnam, USA, they also have membership in it. So it has gained a status of plurilateral lending institutions. So India doesn't see, even though there are bilateral relations with China, it's in the broad sense, India also has many advantages. So it has put aside the bilateral differences and it is working together at the AIIB. Apart from it, India also needs more than like $2 trillion for infrastructure and all. If I remember, it is $1.5 trillion. Just check the facts. Okay, India domestically or from the existing institutions, it cannot raise funding for the infrastructure and sustainable development. One of the better option that India has seen, as you can see currently for COVID-19 also it has lent. So for raising the resources, it is benefiting India. Apart from it, it can also open up investment opportunities in the region through AIIB. AIB, since India is also a member, it also has voting rights. It can open up investment opportunities for India. Apart from, if you come across AIB, you should also be knowing about New Development Bank, because these two institutions, they have been started in a similar context and some of the mandate is similar. Okay, New Development Bank, let us discuss briefly. It is also called as BRICS Bank. It's any UN member can become a member of the New Development Bank. So this is different from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, because there any member of World Bank or Asian Development Bank can become a member. Here, UN, any member of UN can join the New Development Bank, and its headquarters is at Shanghai, China. AIB's headquarters is at Beijing, China. Don't get confused. Okay. The bank supports public or private projects through loans, guarantees, equity, participation, and other financial instruments. So here the mandate is also different. Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is basically into infrastructure, though it also lends for development needs. This is lending for developmental needs. And New Development Bank, this is a fact which has approved 14 projects in India, and the total amount is $4.18 billion. Okay.